Revenge. Before we start episode 6, give that lovely like. The professor saying that people with strong immunity don't fully turn into zombies like Young. And the surprise is the woman who wanted to commit suicide didn't fully turn into a zombie either. She applies lipstick and fixes herself up, feeling confident because she now has immunity. On the other hand, Luca is breaking down after seeing her parents turn into zombies. Suddenly she tries to harm herself, but they stop her. Sanga tells her to calm down. Joe says her father hasn't come back and she feels like he's turned into a zombie. We need to get out of here somehow. This confinement will kill us. If not from zombies, then from hunger. She falls asleep on the desk and accidentally presses the microphone, making an annoying sound. Emma comes to check the source of the noise and realizes it's the mic. She then has a brilliant idea, suggesting they turn on the mics with loud music to distract the zombies and draw them away from the stairs. Sanga says it's a great idea, but asks how they'll play the music without internet. She says she has a solution and uses an old CD to play it. Lizzo speaks into the mic, telling Sam to stay where he is because they're coming to rescue him. They're in the broadcasting room above him. Sam hears them, but so does Young, who grabs a knife and heads to the broadcasting room. Sam, who was locked in the music room, is near a storage area for musical instruments. The surprise is that Jocko was hiding there, locking herself in. But the teacher isn't with her. The group executes their plan, turning on the mic and luring the zombies away. Young tries to catch up to them. All the zombies leave except for one. They quietly walk past it, trying not to make any noise. Unfortunately, they make a sound, they all run, and Lizzo tries to delay him, but the zombie overpowers him and attacks. He tries to bite him, and of course, everyone leaves him behind. Surprisingly, Young manages to kill the zombie. He tells Young he'll never forget this favor. Young asks about Sam, but Young says, "Why do you want to know?" He replies, "No reason, I was just going to kill him." Suddenly, Young attacks him and tries to kill him. Lizzo manages to fend him off, but Young is obviously stronger. Young asks if he feels fear, stating that he doesn't feel fear anymore. At that moment, Emma tries to save him but gets bitten. Lizzo throws Young out the window and then takes Emma and leaves. Meanwhile, the group reaches the shooting center and locks themselves in. John sits in a corner crying. Someone asks him what's wrong and he reveals he's injured in the stomach, but it's not a zombie bite, just a wooden plank that pierced him. Thankfully, the group reaches Sam safely and checks on him. Jocko, still in the storage room, overhears everything. They realize Emma and Lizzo are missing, so they go looking for them. They find Young in front of them and return to the music room. While talking, someone notices a bite mark on Emma's hand and confronts her. Lizzo defends Emma, saying it wasn't a zombie bite, but Young biting her in self-defense. Sam insists she'll turn into a zombie, saying he saw Young biting her. Lizzo argues that Young spoke to him normally and even asked about Sam. Shocked, Sam asks why Young would ask about him, and Lizzo says he wanted to kill him before turning. Emma sits by the window, telling them to get rid of her if she turns. Lizzo holds her hand and sits beside her. Joe tells Sam that if Emma was infected, she would have already turned, but Sam insists, saying he saw Young biting her. Joe asks why Lizzo would lie about it. Moments later, Emma starts showing symptoms of the virus and suddenly attacks Lizzo. Sam tries to hit her, but Lizzo takes the hit instead, leading to a big fight. Sam tells Lizzo he's scared for him and doesn't want to lose him. Joe points out there's no blood on Emma's mouth, proving she didn't bite anyone. Emma admits she wanted to bite, but managed to control herself. She decides to leave to solve the problem, but Joe grabs her, refusing to let her go. Lizzo ties his hand to hers, stating that if she bites anyone, it'll be him. Elsewhere, the detective takes the baby to leave the area, giving his assistant a wooden stick to fend off zombies. They take a motorcycle but see a girl running from zombies. They take her back to the restaurant where the detective asks about her mother. She points to a woman standing among zombies. Feeling sorry, he hugs and comforts her. Meanwhile, Sanga complains about being thirsty. Jocko overhears them and considers opening the door, but after hearing them say they'd rather have Emma than the annoying Jocko, she changes her mind and locks the door from the inside. Sam suggests breaking the door, but it's too difficult. Jocko stands scared inside. Elsewhere, Van is still in quarantine, desperate to escape. When the guards bring food, Isrania Van asks how long they'll be there. They reply around 3 weeks. Suddenly, the guards start beating everyone, but Van's friend locks the door to protect them. They steal the guards' clothes and plan their escape. They reach a high wall, and Van's friend helps him climb it. The friend asks for a rope to climb up too, but Van refuses, telling him to go back and live. After climbing down, Van encounters a suspicious guard and knocks him out with a helmet. He runs, but the guards see him and start shooting. He jumps into the sea, but unfortunately gets hit by a bullet. Despite the pain, he keeps swimming, determined to survive. He pushes through the pain and heads to Hyo-sun to save his girl. Meanwhile, the authorities head to Hyo-sun with Mazo, who has a week left in service. His mother calls, worried after hearing about the mission, but he lies to reassure her, saying he's still at the base. Later, they enter a mall and kill all the zombies there, rescuing a survivor. But things take a turn when Mazo gets bitten. His condition worsens, so they put him in a bag and take him along, studying his case to develop a vaccine. Back with the group, they're still trapped in the music room. Lizzo stays with Emma, isolating themselves in case she turns. Ju asked Lizzo to record a video. Emma told him, "Aren't you afraid you'll turn into a zombie and bite me?" He replied, "On the contrary, I wish to die with you." She said, "You seem to like me." He looked into her eyes and said, "I like you." She turned on the camera and said to him, "I like you too." He got shy. We see Saab walking in the school, noticing her sense of hearing is very sharp. Coincidentally, she stopped in front of a room and heard the sound of fish in the tank. She went in because she was hungry, but before eating, she felt someone was there. She discovered it was Mr. Simon, who told her to stay away or he'd hit her. She said, "Calm down, I'm just hungry." She grabbed a fish and ate it alive. He said, "You don't seem normal," as he approached her quietly and hit her hard. She started to confront him and reminded him of the time he wanted to call her guardian. He held a knife in case she attacked him. She told him to drop the knife or she'd kill him. Suddenly, she attacked him, and he stabbed her, but she didn't feel the pain. She bites him and pulled out his liver, but she threw up everything she ate. In another area, Yang wakes up after falling from the 3rd floor. Of course, he won't let things go. We return to Emma, who was feeling uneasy and said, "This place is scary. We need to get to the roof so any passing helicopter can see us." Sangha replied, "The problem is the zombies everywhere." We switched to Young, who was drinking when he suddenly heard a hidden person. It turned out to be the school janitor, who he was afraid of. The janitor told him to hide nearby. Then he pointed to a car and said, "Let's use it to escape." But they start a fight. He then grabbed him by the neck and dragged him out. Yang, with great strength, broke his arm silently so the zombies wouldn't hear. Yang threw him to the zombies and looked at himself in the mirror, vowing that Sam would pay the price. Elsewhere, Sam told the group, "Guys, staying here is wrong," as Emma said. "We need to get to the roof." Suddenly, Ju got an idea when she saw a screen. She suggested playing a video on the screen with loud volume to attract the zombies. But first, they divided the room into 2 parts for safety. She told Emma, "We need you with us," and untied her hands. They began moving all the furniture to one side of the room to create a barrier. We switched to Van treating his injuries at the police station. He discovered an arsenal of weapons and tried to open its door with a metal rod. The problem was that the noise attracted zombies, who stormed the place. At the last moment, he grabbed a weapon, killed them, and escaped safely, heading to his daughter's school. We moved to Mom's restaurant with Detective Javi and his assistant Jin, preparing to face the zombies. Mooney was scared and started crying. Javi told her, "Close your eyes and hold on to me." She followed his instructions. Jin started shouting and making noise, thinking it would scare the zombies. Fortunately, they escaped safely. Later, they heard someone calling for help. It turned out to be Times, the YouTuber. Jin suggested leaving him because the place wasn't safe. However, Detective Javi insisted on rescuing him. When Jin saw the zombies, he panicked and ran away, leaving them behind. We returned to the youth, who divided the room in 2. Lizzo opened the door for the zombies and hid with them. Then, they played the video at a very high volume. Zombies started coming from everywhere. The girls created noise while the boys held back the zombies. Once they confirmed all the zombies had gathered in the room, they seized the opportunity to head to the roof. Don't forget that Chan was still hiding. Upstairs. By coincidence, he saw a helicopter heading his way. He tried to attract attention and heard someone knocking on the door. The group arrived just in time, but the electronic door wouldn't open without the password. Zombies were climbing towards the helicopter's sound, but the real problem was that Yang had arrived. The soldiers asked, "Where are the people?" He lied and said, "I'm the only one who hasn't turned," even though he heard the group calling and knocking for help. However, the helicopter's noise drowned them out and, unfortunately, the coward left them behind. At this point, Yang confronted Sam and said, "I will pluck your eyes out while you're alive so you can feel the same pain." Emma gathered her zombie strength, grabbed him, and threw him with great force. She couldn't believe she had such power. We switched to Saul, who decided to create a disaster to erase all the painful memories she experienced in that place. She poured alcohol everywhere and set the school on fire, standing there enjoying the flames. The smoke triggered the alarm, disabling the security system, and the roof door opened. But by the time the group entered, it was too late. The helicopter had already left. Sam closed the door and sat in front of it, feeling very sad. Suddenly, someone banged on the door hard. The crazy person was banging so hard that his fingers bent. Sam left them and went down to treat his wounds. We moved to the shooting range with another group, unaware of anything. Me told them, "We need to get to the roof of this building because I heard a helicopter earlier." John replied, "Roof? I'm tired. We return to the roof, where Masio was giving instructions to write the word SOS with wood so the helicopter pilot would notice. On the other side, Javi is still sitting with Times after Jenny left them and treated Times' injured leg. At that moment, a bus enters and stops in front of them. He jumps on the bus. Then he said, "Come on, there's no time." But when he hesitated, he added, "Hurry up, man." He mustered his courage, jumped, and thankfully, they escaped the place as night fell. Javi was playing with the baby when suddenly they hit a girl walking by, causing an accident. Javi went down to check on the girl, asking, "Are you okay? There's blood on your head." At that moment, the police arrived and started shooting randomly at the bus, thinking they were zombies. Javi threw himself to the ground and shouted, "We're not zombies. I'm an officer, and here's my badge." We transition to Jacko, who's trapped in the storage room. By chance, she finds a camera in front of her, watches videos of her colleagues, and recalls the day she had a problem with Sun and Ms. Mott intervened. It turns out Ms. Mott disappeared after Jacko saved her. We discover that after saving her, a zombie attacked and bit her. Afterward, Jacko locked her in the music room. Jacko was heartbroken, watching her transform before her eyes. She takes extra food to leave, but Yang enters and she mistakes him for a zombie. He says, "Do zombies talk?" and he attacks and kills her. Later, he thinks about climbing to the roof through a pipe, clutching her finger in his mouth. On the roof, the group is having a gathering. Sam takes a deep breath and decides to confess his love to Joe. He looks into her eyes and pours out his feelings, saying, "I love you." After his heartfelt confession, she replies, "I don't like you." He walks away, while Yang continues climbing the pipe, still holding the finger in his mouth. As Joe sits alone crying, Yang arrives safely. He violently attacks Sam, pinning him to the ground, and unfortunately begins to gouge out his eyes. Joe attempts to intervene, but he throws her aside. Lizo intervenes at the last moment, but Yang kicks him, breaking his bones, and says, "Anyone who stands in my way will be crushed." The group prepares themselves in case he attacks them. He indeed attacks them, Shami pleads. "Please don't kill him." Yang eliminates the others. Meanwhile, Emma gathers her zombie strength to save her friends. Lizo fights him fiercely, but Yang feels nothing and overpowers him, trying to throw him to the zombies. Thankfully, Emma defeats Yang and saves her boyfriend, Lizo. Yang is left lying on the ground, unable to move. He pushes through his pain and begins walking despite his broken bones. We transition to the quarantine zone, where Chan, who abandoned his friends, is seen. Meanwhile, the officer, who was rescued, informs the officials that the virus creator is someone named Lee, a science teacher at Hyo-san School, and that all virus-related information is stored on a laptop there. The commander orders a helicopter to the school immediately, instructing them not to return without the laptop. Chan encounters his friend Sue, who's upset with him for abandoning her and letting her go down alone when they were on the roof. She tells him that she burned the school. He replies, "I feel like you're not yourself. Are you okay? Here, eat if you're hungry." She responds, "I'll eat, but I'll eat something else. I want to take revenge and turn you into a zombie." We return to the school, where the group shares their unfulfilled wishes. Sam says he wanted to open a shop with his mom, unaware that she has reached the school to save him but has turned into a zombie. Joe wishes to ensure her father is safe, not knowing he's on his way to rescue her. Emma shares her dream of buying the latest car model. Sunga jokes that he wishes to be a traffic officer so he can fine her and revoke her license. At that moment, they hear the sound of a helicopter, which has come for the laptop. Thankfully, their lives are spared. However, when the soldiers land, they threaten the group at gunpoint. Sunga asks, "Did you come to save us or kill us?" The soldiers order them to lie on the ground and begin checking them to ensure they're uninfected. One soldier stays with the group while the others head to the science lab, aided by the helicopter's lights. The commander monitors the operation on a screen. The soldiers clear the lab of zombies but face increasing numbers due to the noise of their weapons. Yang hears the commotion and hides in a safe place, locking himself in. Meanwhile, the group at the archery center hears the helicopter and decides they must reach it at any cost. Since John is unwell, they secure him on a stretcher to make their journey easier. The soldiers successfully retrieve the laptop and complete their mission. The commander orders them to rescue the students and return immediately. At that moment, an officer informs the commander of a disaster. It turns out Sue followed through on her threat and killed someone. The army arrests her, and the commander witnesses the scene on the screen. He realizes she was infected, but showed no symptoms. The bigger problem is that Sue is wearing the school uniform. Tragically, the commander orders, "Do not rescue anyone from there." The officer protests, "But sir, they're all fine." The commander insists, "Follow orders without question. Bring the laptop and come." The soldiers might soften their hearts, but unfortunately, there's no use. Those guys saw the plane moving in front of them and lost hope as well. We move to the quarantine, and the army accused Sophia and her group of helping Van when he attacked the soldiers and escaped. They were recording the investigation because Sophia is a public figure. She told them, "First of all, none of us helped him, but I am the reason he reached this point. He was heading with the ambulance to save his daughter, but his boss pressured him to save us. I must take full responsibility and am ready for any judgment." We moved to a worse situation after the army became hostile toward her. The commander said, "From this moment, no one leaves Busan. Anyone rescued from the city will be placed under special surveillance." They arrested Sophia and her companions and became hostile toward Javi and Jin because they were leaving Busan. Javi, out of compassion, was carrying the child and didn't want to leave her. Even the little girl Mooney was arrested. On the other side, Ima was suffering because of the thunder's sound, and Lizo solved the problem. The rain began to pour heavily, and they were overjoyed because they hadn't seen water in 5 days. Their emotions turned from happiness to hysterical crying, and young beneath them was suffering because of the thunder's sound. Sam became optimistic after the rain and said, "We must save ourselves. We won't wait for help from anyone." Even though Joga heartbroke him, he held her hand and said, "Stay by my side so I can protect you." They quietly descended, trying to avoid any loud noises, leaving the building safely and searching for a secure way out. At that moment, Sam was shocked to see his mother in front of him, but unfortunately it was a hallucination because, in reality, she had turned into a zombie, shocked after seeing his mother, the most precious person in his life. Suddenly, Sang attacked her and tried to kill her, but Sam went crazy, threw him to the ground and said, "If you touch her again, I'll kill you." Lizo held him, trying to calm him down, but it was hard for him because, after all, she was his mother. John took him, and they started searching for a safe place. Meanwhile, the group was trying to leave the school, but John made the task difficult for them. By chance, they met the other group and united. They entered the gym, and as soon as they sensed a zombie, they entered the storage room. May was holding John because he was heavy, but John untied the rope, distracted the zombie, and sacrificed himself for them. They entered the storage room and locked the door, but unfortunately Han didn't make it inside and had to escape elsewhere. Jita held her brother Masi's hand to reassure him. We moved to the commander, who was watching videos of Professor Lee. He said the only solution to save the world is to kill the zombies. He ordered, "Tighten the siege on the city. Not even a fly should escape." On the other side, we see an official talking to Sophia, asking her to sign her resignation so that if something goes wrong, she'll be safe. She felt that this person was untrustworthy and trying to deceive her. He told her, "Don't rush. Keep the letter with you. After signing, leave it with security." The next day, Joe apologized to Samana for hurting him with her words. He told her, "No matter what happens, I'll always love you." She replied, "It's not the right time. Let's get out of here safely." We moved to Young, who went to the roof but didn't find anyone. He didn't know where they had disappeared to. Meanwhile, the group was preparing to leave the school. They had a brilliant plan. They gathered all the baskets in the storage room and made a closed circle to prevent the zombies from reaching them. While Young was enjoying the fresh air and beautiful nature, he heard a sound in the gym. He rushed there, and the group tried to lure the zombies toward the back door. Joe struggled to open it, but surprisingly, someone opened it. She was shocked to see it was her father, Van, which was the best surprise of her life. He told her, "As long as I'm with you, don't be afraid." Then he told the group, "We'll cross the tennis court to reach the forest." By chance, they saw a zombie, and he dealt with it. We moved to Han at the shooting range. He greeted someone, saying, "Hey buddy, have you seen a guy with named Sam?" The man replied, "No, I haven't seen him. Also, close the door when you enter next time." Han grabbed him and said, "I'm ready to drink your blood while you're alive, but you're lucky I'm not hungry." By chance, he smelled Sam's scent on Han's clothes and said, "You were with Sam, and you brought this upon yourself." Unfortunately, he killed him. Meanwhile, the group reached the tennis court. Van led them inside and locked the door, but the zombies surrounded the court from all sides. The problem was that the door opened, putting them in a tough spot. Van thought quickly, lit a flare, and threw it far away to distract them. The crazy zombies followed it. Van asked them to leave, but the zombies attacked him and tried to bite his hand. He threw them away and, after helping the group escape, locked the door behind him. His daughter asked, "What are you doing? Aren't you coming with us?" We were shocked to find out the zombie had bitten his hand, and unfortunately, he would turn into one at any moment. He told her, "Go into the forest. You'll find signs I made to guide you." Sadly, he accepted his fate, knowing he would turn into a zombie. Joe walked away, heartbroken. Luckily, they found an under-construction building and hid from the zombies. They climbed up but didn't find a hiding spot. By chance, Ima found scaffolding under the window. They jumped onto it and hid away from the zombies' sight. Joe was still traumatized after seeing her father die in front of her. She grabbed a rod to kill herself, but Sam took it from her and threw it away. At that moment, Ying was sniffing all the oxygen in the air to locate Sam. He followed the same path Sam had taken. We moved to the army, who were keeping Sue and Mazo. The commander was trying to find a final solution to eliminate the zombies. He discovered they are attracted to loud noises. Life is disturbing. He hears it. Within minutes, the entire area gathered in the field. On the other side, the young men were still hanging on. Young reached them thanks to his nose, and he said to Sam, "Your smell is what led me to you." Sam went crazy at him, but Young tricked him, hit him, and went down to finish him off. Lizo saw the girls scared, so he toughened up and went after him. He punched him down to the lower floor, and Young pinned Sam's hand, and unfortunately, he bit him. At that moment, the planes approached the area they were in, and the sound tormented him and Emma. Sam took advantage of the situation and threw him down, but it was too late. It was only a matter of time before he turned into a zombie. He cut off his name and left a beautiful memory with Joe. Then he entered the building and tried to distract the zombies and steer them away from the place, and indeed, he succeeded in driving them away. They took advantage of the situation, got out of the building, and Young clung to life strongly, determined to gouge out Sam's eye. And those guys came out the back door, and Sam started bleeding because he was about to turn. He was surprised by Young in front of him. He said to him, "You revenged and turned me into a zombie, huh? What more do you want?" He replied, "I'll gouge out your eyes." And indeed, he pinned him to the ground and pressed with all his strength on his eyes and gouged them out. At that moment, the leader gave the order to bomb the city. They targeted the first site and killed thousands of zombies. The second site was destroyed. Then, they targeted the baseball field, and consequently, the school was the only thing left, so they targeted it with a powerful missile. Unfortunately, the entire area was destroyed. Even though the young men were far away, the shrapnel almost hit them, and the under-construction building caught fire. Sam and the others died together. On the other side, the leader began to feel guilty because he had killed 60% of the city's population. He entered his office, put on his military suit, then called his wife. He said to her, "I'll miss you," and hung up on her. He pulled out his gun and shot himself in front of the camera. The zombies were annihilated except for a few. Of course, the soldiers entered and killed the remaining zombies, but the city is large, and it will take time. At this time, the young men were sitting in the forest. Emma felt she was turning into a zombie and was hiding her eyes because she looked horrible. Sangi was injured by shrapnel from the missile. At one moment, they noticed signs hanging from the branches. Joe realized it was what her father had told her about. By coincidence, she found a flashlight and discovered it belonged to her father. On the other side, the soldiers stormed Mr. Lee's house and were shocked to find that he hadn't killed his wife and son. They were still tied up as they were. The young men reached another city, but zombies appeared from everywhere. They decided to unite and eliminate them. In the chaos, Masio got bitten and said goodbye to his sister Gita before turning into a zombie. Suddenly, he began to transform, and before he attacked them, Emma finished him off. Then they moved from the place, but Emma began to feel hungry and feared she would turn and attack her friends. So she left them to go ahead and took a moment to recover herself. After a while, Lizo noticed she was missing, so he took Joro and searched for her everywhere. They were shocked to find her eating one of the zombies. She told them to leave because she couldn't control herself. The problem was they stood talking to her, and suddenly, she attacked Joro and was about to bite him. But she controlled herself at the last moment, and Lizo couldn't bring himself to kill her. Then she left them and disappeared into the city entirely. The group continued on their way and, thankfully, encountered the army. They surrendered themselves, and the army checked them to confirm they were normal. Of course, after the leader's death, investigator Javi and his assistant Jin were released. At night, Joe sneaked out and escaped quarantine. She kept walking in the forest alone until she reached a tree and discovered it had the names of her friends who had died written on it. By coincidence, she noticed a fire burning above the school. The next day, she met Lizo and told him, "If you're free tonight, come with me to check this out, but don't tell the rest of the group. We don't want any fuss." At night, they headed to the agreed place and were shocked to find a group of young people waiting for them. They headed to the school together. When they arrived, they found the place completely destroyed, with charred bodies everywhere. They went up to the roof and found the fire in front of them, indicating someone must have lit it. They tried to guess who did it. Surely it was Emma, and of course she had taken a beautiful bath and washed off the blood on her body. She told them, "Every day, I light the fire, hoping we will gather around it again." At that moment, she began to feel hungry. She walked away from them before eating one of them. The first season ends with that scene. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification button so you never miss